Good afternoon and evening, everyone. Um, I just wanted to send a message out wishing everybody throughout the Matawan Aberdeen Regional School District and especially Matawan Regional High School. I hope that everyone is as excited for this coming school year as I am, as my administrative team is, and as excited as everybody was on Friday when we had our brand new class come to freshman orientation. Nobody more than me is ever upset to see the summer go by. I love going to the beach. I love being out on the water, but I also am really, really excited about going back to school. So even though I'm going to miss those beach days, as you can tell, it's about time to get back to school. To start to shave every single day, shirt and tie, no more t-shirts and stuff. But I am really, really excited, and I wish everyone the best of luck going into this school year. And if you're watching this video and you are not from Matawan Aberdeen Regional School District, best of luck to you also. After what education endured last year, I think everybody should be really, really excited for what it's going to be like going back to 100% in-person instruction. There's going to be speed bumps along the way, but in typical fashion, I am sure that after what we went through last year and how we persevered, we will be able to do the same thing this year, no matter what gets thrown at us. Something I wanted to do for you that might be a little bit cheesy, but it's something that I'm really looking forward to. I talk a lot about my son Benjamin. He's 5 years old. He's going to be entering kindergarten this year. So I went and I took out a book from the Middletown Public Library. Yes, Mr. Gross, I went to the public library to make sure I took it out. I didn't go and buy it. So I'm making sure that I help out the library also. A book that I plan to read to him before he goes to school for his first day of kindergarten on Monday. He's not starting until September 13th. So, what I'd like to do is just spend a couple minutes, and if you stay tuned in, I'd like to read the book to you also. So feel free to follow along, share it with anybody. I just think it's a great way to kind of start looking at what tomorrow and the rest of the school year is going to bring. And so the book that I plan on reading to Benjamin that I'd also like to read to you as a back to school message is Curious George's First Day at School. All right, so hopefully you're going to stay tuned in and follow along, but let's read all about Curious George's first day at school. I'm going to do my best possible book reading with voices and stuff impression, so you're going to want to follow along. Sort of, there we go. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George was so excited. He could barely eat his breakfast. You have a big day ahead of you, George, said his friend, the man with the yellow hat. It was a big day for George. It was the first day of school, and he had been invited to be a special helper. George and his friend walked together to the schoolyard. Some of the children were nervous, but George could not wait for the fun to begin. In the classroom, George's friend introduced him to Mr. Apple. Thank you for inviting George to school today, the man with the yellow hat said to the teacher. Then he waved goodbye. Have a good day, George. I'll be back to pick you up after school. The children were excited to have a monkey in class. George is going to be our special helper, Mr. Apple told them. And what a helper he was. At story time, George held the book. At math time, the children could count on George. And at recess, George made sure everyone had a ball and a well-balanced snack. After lunch, Mr. Apple got out paints and brushes. George saw red, yellow, and blue paint. 3 colors were not very many. George was curious. Could he help make more colors? First, George mixed red and blue to make purple. Next, George mixed red and yellow to make orange. Then, George mixed yellow and blue to make green. Finally, George mixed all the colors to make, what's he going to make? Uh-oh. A big mess. The children thought the mess was funny, but Mr. Apple did not. "Oh dear," he said, "we are going to need something to clean this up. Everyone, please sit quietly while I look." George did not mean to make such a mess, and he certainly did not want to sit quietly. He wanted to help. It was his job, after all. George had an idea. In the hallway, George found a closet. In the closet, he found a bucket. In the bucket, he found just what he needed. A mop. George was on his way back to the classroom when he heard somebody yell, "Stop! Stop! What are you doing with my mop?" The janitor ran after George. "Stop! Stop! No running in the halls!" The principal ran after the janitor. But George was going too fast to stop. He grabbed the doorway and swung inside, and sploosh! The bucket tipped, the mop dropped, and George slid across the floor. Now the mess was even bigger. Mr. Apple looked surprised. The principal frowned. The janitor just shook his head. And George, poor George, he felt terrible. Maybe he was not such a good helper after all. The children felt terrible too. They did not like to see George looking so sad. They thought he was a great helper. Now they wanted to help him. So the children all lent a hand and some feet. And before anyone knew it, the mess was gone. "That little monkey sure is helpful," the janitor said. "It looks like Mr. Apple has a whole class full of helpers," the principal added. At the end of the day, when George's friend arrived to pick him up, Mr. Apple said, "Thank you for all of your help, George. We hope you will come back. We hope you will come help us again." The children cheered. They hoped George would come again too. George waved goodbye to his new friends. What a great day it had been. He could not wait to come back to school. And so that is Curious George's first day of school. Seems like he had a pretty eventful day. Hopefully tomorrow I will not be chasing anybody down the hallway with paint all over the place, but it might happen, so who knows. No matter what, I hope everybody has a great evening. Get lots of rest. I'm sure all the high school kids are going to be in bed by like 7 o'clock or so they can be up and ready to go to school tomorrow. I am really, really stoked to see everybody. I can't wait to see everyone in the hallways. I can't wait to have the place filled with kids. I can't wait to see the smiles on kids' faces and staff's faces as kids are walking in the hallway. This has been a long time coming, and it is going to be great for us all to be back together again. Matawan Regional High School and Matawan Aberdeen Regional School District, welcome back and have a great 2021-2022 school year. Have a good night, everybody.